Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Move, Crush, Count. I'm your host, Scott Joseph. Today, we have a very special guest coming all the way from Australia, Jono Petrohilis. He's the co-founder and director of Fitness Education Online. It's one of the largest online course providers in Australia when it comes to personal trainers. He sells over, get this, everyone, $1 million worth of online courses every single year. He's been awarded the Australian Fitness Industry Educator of the Year multiple times. Jono now helps other professionals create and sell online courses with his free Facebook group and podcast, the Course Creator Community. So do me a favor. If you're in front of your laptop, if you're on your phone, don't stop listening, don't stop watching, but make sure you join his group. So in this episode, we are going to explore Jono's expertise when it comes to building and monetizing an engaging Facebook group. He does this using this is key, without using Facebook ads. And if you're looking to grow your audience on Facebook, this is definitely an episode for you. So first, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, J&L Marketing. J&L Marketing is a digital and direct marketing agency that helps you outsmart your toughest competitors, so you don't have to outspend them. I want you, and by the way, we got listening to Jono here, he talks about building an engaging group. Two big time marketers here that have been very successful, J&L and Jono, both talking about spending less or none at all. So very important. Listen up on this episode. But do us a favor. Visit jnlmarketing.com so you can see how their innovative approach helps you move the crowd, crush your competition, and count the money. Let's jump in. Welcome, Jono. How you doing, buddy? Let me unmute you here first. There you go.
There we go. I'm great, Scott. It's bright and early over here in Australia, 7:30 in the morning. I usually wake up and have a cup of coffee and watch my YouTube reels. And I was watching one when you came on, a good one from Bill Burr. But I think having this conversation is going to be more exciting than Bill Burr and the YouTube reels. So I'm excited.
Listen, if we can beat Bill Burr, then we're in good shape here because he's one of my favorite comedians. He cracks me up. Everything he says makes me. I think it's how he says it. It may not even be what he says. It's just how he delivers it.
Okay, so I've got a question for you before we get into it, Scott. So yeah. I'm a big fan of comedy, but they've got to be good. That's the down point with Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and whatnot, because I get the best comedians. I get Dave Chappelle, I get Andrew Schultz, I get Bill Burr, and it's like now I go to a local comedy club in Australia and I'm like, these guys aren't funny, so it's ruined me a bit. But the only person I think can top Bill Burr, or probably those two, so I'm going to give you three people: Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr,
great,
Andrew Schultz. What's your three in that order?
So I have to go Burr first, and I would go Chappelle, but I'm not as familiar with Schultz.
Okay, yeah, he's not quite in their level, but he's a good up and comer.
Yeah, I'll have to do a little research when we get done with this episode.
Yeah. He's on Joe Rogan's podcast quite a lot. So if you're a Joe Rogan fan, you might there.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, enough about comedy. Let's get into
Listen, you bring up Joe Rogan. I get a lot of requests from him. He always asks for podcast tips from me, so I didn't know. I'm always on Joe Rogan's reels. It's weird. I don't know how that.
There we go. I think I've got to add you to the comedian list, Scott. You've pushed Andrew Schultz. You're my number 3 now.
I'll be happy top 5. I'll be happy with top 5. Yeah. All right. So let me ask you, how'd you get started in the online course industry? So not necessarily the fitness stuff, right? But the online course stuff. And then what inspired you to create it towards the fitness industry?
So I used to be a personal trainer myself. Okay. Long story short, I used to suck at it. I ran a boot camp. I was at a franchise. There were like 75 different locations. I was
ranked. Yeah. I gotta have a clarifying question. When you say you sucked at it, was it you sucked at the actual training, or you sucked at selling your services?
So good question. Without getting too technical, actually both of those. So I was very qualified. I was a qualified exercise physiologist. So I knew my stuff. I knew my science. But the down point with that degree is it didn't really relate to real world application, specifically in the general public and specifically in like a boot camp sort of setting. So I could write the scientifically best program, but if I got no personality, if I can't get the group to bond, you're not even going to do that program, Scott. So I'd say my knowledge was good, but I didn't know how to implement it in like a real world sort of setting. And I also sucked at the sales and marketing side of things as well. So to simplify, all of the above,
all of
yeah. But I had the knowledge, but I just couldn't like implement it, right?
absolutely,
So,
yeah.
yeah, and I was at a boot camp and I was ranked like number 75 out of 75 out of all the different franchises. But I loved it. I loved what I did. I loved the job. And I'm like, okay, I need to get better at this. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my franchise. So
Yeah.
I spent about a year of my life just immersing myself in everything to do with being a successful personal trainer, taking courses, reading books, listening to podcasts, YouTube channels, mentors, attending other people's sessions, did everything out there, right? And then came back to the same convention later and was actually ranked number 1. So in that 12-month period. And then, continued, opened up another location, built to about 150 clients and got really good at running a boot camp. And a big part of getting to that level was by doing other people's courses. And they were really great at the start, but then it got to a point where I was like, hold on, I'm still doing these courses. I'm still learning something, but I feel that I could put together something that's better, if not better, at least different. And if not different, at least tailored to a specific target market. Because all the courses that I was doing were they're either just helping business people in general. And then I would in my mind be like, all right, cool, that works for this business. How can I get it to work in the fitness industry? And there were even some that were fitness industry specific, but they were more tailored for like personal trainers working at a gym. Whereas I was running an outdoor boot camp, which is a massive thing here in Australia. It's one of the biggest markets, is just because we got good weather, we got beaches. You get your qualifications, you start up a boot. That's what you do over here in Australia. But all the kind of courses were tailored to, hey, you're a one-on-one personal trainer working in the gym. Here's how you build that business. And I would kind of use that content and reverse engineer it and then run it in my own business. But I was like, hold on, I think I can do it specific for this market here. So I was like, all right, let me put this on. Let me have a look at this course thing. And at the time, I didn't know if it was going to be an online course or a face-to-face course. I just knew I wanted to put together a course. And I was thinking at the time, and I'm like, all right, if I do a face-to-face course, well, there's a bit of risk involved. I need to, find a venue. I need to pay for a venue. I need to market it. And then I could do all that, and then nobody comes. Or even worse, I could do all that, and one person comes. Then I actually have to run the session. At least if no one comes, I could go home and, count my losses. But one person actually got to work. And on top of that, I was working very hard on my personal training business Monday to Saturday. The only day I had free was Sunday. And I was like, and I made a covenant to myself when I started working in industry. I need to have Sundays off. I need to have at least one day off. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy, Yep. So I was like, all right, this face-to-face stuff is out of it. Let me look into this online thing. Now, I wasn't an online person. I was a fitness person. We do the exact opposite. We try and tell people to not go online, right? And go outside and exercise. So I had no idea what I was doing. Just did a quick Google search and found someone, and they were like, yeah, we'll create a website for you and you can put your online course on there and it's $20,000. And I was like, oof, it's a lot of money, a bit of a risk. I don't know if it's going to sell. Let me park this online course thing. But then the next day or whatever, I was scrolling through Facebook and there was an advertisement on there to purchase an ebook. Now, this is like 2014 or something, like 9-10 years ago, and I wasn't an online guy. So I didn't know what an ebook was. So I purchased the ebook, and then I was going through it, and I was like, hold on, this is just a Microsoft Word document saved as a PDF. Now, I'm a technological dunce, but I know how to open Microsoft Word and press save as PDF, and that's how you create an ebook. I don't need to be a publisher. I don't need to be an author. Like, maybe this can be my online course. I can just put together a really, really solid ebook. So I paired up with a business partner at the time, a guy that was also a personal trainer, Travis Matern. Shout out if you're listening. And we put together this ebook. Like and not a, now an ebook is kind of like a 2-page EDF that you give away for free to get an email address. Like, wasn't that?
Right.
It was like a 90-page manual. It was like a chapter out of a textbook. It was solid stuff. And we're ready to take it to the market. But there was one problem. It looked like a Microsoft Word document. So I was like, all right, I got to at least make it look better, So I took the night off work and I, tried to format it. And and I made it look worse because I don't know if any of your listeners can relate, but if you're not if you don't know a lot about Microsoft Word, you try and format it and insert pictures, they wrap around it, these page breaks come out, these index come
Where
in.
was Canva when you needed it?
Yeah, exactly, right. So I had this document. It was looked like a Microsoft Word, made it look worse, and I went on Google to try and get some tips. And I stumbled across the website Fiverr, which I'm sure your listeners are familiar with now. Back in those days, I didn't have a clue what it was, but scrolling through, I'm like, I can get anything I want done here for $5. And some of the stuff, I remember this one. Listen to this, Scott. I was scrolling through, and there was this one gig on there. This guy that said he would slap himself in the face for $5. And I'm like, surely this isn't true. Who's going to slap themselves in the face for $5? No one's that dumb. So I purchased it to check if it was real. Yeah. And the guy sent me an email like literally 5 minutes later of him slapping himself in the face. And he didn't hold back. It was a solid slap. And I was like, you know what? That's a good use of my $5. But then I got me thinking. And I was like, hold on. This guy didn't introduce himself or, say my name or like hold up a newspaper with today's date or anything. And I was like, and then I went and what he sent me was an unlisted YouTube video, which had 100,000 views. So I'm like,
it may not even have been him.
Yeah, exactly. Pay someone $100 and they do it and happy days. But it opened my mind. It was a couple different things. It showed me the power of like on leverage, on like, right, do the thing once and then get paid again and again and again. It also helped confidence because I'm like, this guy, like, and I thought he was the idiot. I was the idiot, right? Where I'm doing all this hard work, running boot camp, sweating, and this guy's slapping himself in the face once and getting paid. But it was kind of like, what's my excuse? This guy had no qualifications, no personality, no sense of humor, no charisma, could barely speak English, and he's made $500,000 slapping himself in the face once. What's my excuse? Right?
Yeah.
But even more powerfully, it showed me what an unlisted YouTube video was. And I was like, oh, hold on. I can also take some videos from my phone, put them on YouTube, make them unlisted so the only way people can see me is if they've got that link, and insert that into my ebook. And I also found somebody that could, make the ebook look pretty for $10 or whatever it was. So now we had a really solid online course. It was still just a Microsoft Word document, but it looked good. It was good content in the Microsoft Word document, and it had video content in there as well. That was the first kind of online course. So without getting too much into the nitty gritty of it, it sold well enough originally that I was like, okay, there's opportunity in this. So I put a bit more effort into it. Before too long, I started making about the same amount of revenue in the online courses as I did running the boot camp. But the difference was running the boot camp was hard work. Selling the online course didn't involve any work. So I was like, all right, let me go full time into the online course side of things. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
There's a lot of Facebook groups out there, some more engaging than others. What would you say is some of the biggest mistakes that you see when it comes to, let's just go right to it, when it comes to monetizing one?
Yep. Awesome. Okay. So there's a few things there. I'll even go before. So I'd even say that the two major steps where if you don't get these in right, it's going to be hard to ever worry about monetizing it anyway. The first one is a plan. Right. What a lot of people do is like, right, I've got this. I'll just speak about the online course side of things because that's kind of my space, but it will relate to any business. So someone could be like, right, I've got this online course. It's amazing. I'm going to start a Facebook group and I'm going to post and all these people are going to join. There's going to be all this engagement and posting there. And they start a Facebook group and there's crickets. Right. That's what happens 9 out of 10 times. If you don't have a plan, you're going to start a Facebook group and it's going to be dead. Because everyone's already in a million other Facebook groups. Like, why are they going to go and kind of care about yours, right? So that's step number one. And we can talk about that later. What does a plan look like? How do you get people to engage and that sort of thing there? So I'd say that's mistake number one. To continue on from that as well, I'd say that most people go into if people do have a plan for a Facebook group, it's more about what they post. right? They may have a plan where it's like, right, I do Motivation Monday and Wonderful Wednesday and Promo Friday or whatever. There's
Right.
no plan to get other people posting or other people engaging. And my definition of a community is it's got to be more about other people than it is about you. If you're starting a
Right.
Facebook group and it's just you posting, just do it on your personal page, or
Right.
start on Instagram or whatever. The biggest advantage of a Facebook group is the community side of things there. All right. So that's
Right.
kind of one thing. The other thing I would add as well is the Facebook name, right? This is the key. And even like it's more a growing side of things, but it's hard to monetize a Facebook group if you don't have a consistent stream of people joining that Facebook group. The ideal goal of growing a Facebook group is you just want to wake up every day and have 5-10 people who are your ideal audience wanting to join that Facebook group. The biggest
Right.
mistake most people make is in the name. They'll call it, Jono Petrohilos's Facebook group, Scott Joseph's Facebook group, or even
Well, time out, Jenna.
Yep.
The Scott Joseph Facebook group. I do not. Someone took that first. There's another Scott Joseph, and from what I understand, it's the most profitable Facebook group in the entire meta. So I missed the boat on that by not grabbing it first. But go ahead.
Well, but I'll tell you another mistake as well, right? And this will hurt for a lot of the people. One of my advantages is I'm not the most clever person, right? So whenever I start a Facebook group, let's call the Course Creator Community, I make it so simple. And that's actually my recommendation for everyone listening. There's two kind of formulas you can use to name a Facebook group: either the Who community, right? So the Course Creator Community, the Personal Trainer Community, the Indians living in Sydney community, right? Whatever your thing is, with the word community at the end. And it doesn't even need to be community, movement. Here's the podcasters movement. Here's the personal trainers movement. It could be the word united, Australian Personal Trainers United, Course Creators United, Canadian Podcasters United, whatever, some kind of who word, and then also some kind of community word as well. The other formula, depending on what you can do, is you can use the what for who. So it might be, podcasting tips for course creators, Facebook ad tips for course creators, Google SEO tips for online businesses, right? Whatever it may be there. But what a lot of people do is they try and get too clever and too cute. So I've got a good friend of mine, smart guy, runs a mortgage company over here in Sydney. His mortgage company is called Python Wealth. Right? You know what? You got Pythons. Everyone listening will know what a Python is, right? Yeah. So he created a Facebook group. He's quite a smart guy. And he called it the Snake Pit. Right? Get it? Snake Pit, Python Wealth. It's funny. Right. It's clever. It's cute.
But no one knows what it is.
Exactly. Well, the only people he had joining was snake enthusiasts. And here in Australia, there's not a lot of crossover between mortgage brokers and snake enthusiasts, right?
Yeah.
So that's another mistake as well. The simpler, the better. I get it. You can be creative, you can be funny, but no one's finding it.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you, what are some of outside of I got a thriving Facebook group, I found a way to start monetizing it, and we'll get into the specifics on monetizing here in a second. But what are some of the other benefits on how that can help your existing business? Yes. So you've got these online courses, right? All right. So you've got these online course business that you're doing 7 figures plus a year. So how does your Facebook group help that?
Yes. Okay. So it's a good question. There's a few different things. So it's a lead generation machine. So there's people that are just my ideal people are joining that Facebook group there. The argument I think someone could give with that is it's great, but why is it different to TikTok or Instagram? Why would I do a Facebook group instead of any of these? And I think there's two biggest advantages there. Number one, we touched on it, is like the community side of things. So because that's a community, there's something different, because there's people that will go to that community and post and ask questions, not necessarily because they want my advice, but because they want the advice of the community. And that's just a massive win, because it just gets people going into that group, even if it's not for me. The other advantage of that is it's very, I get heavy hitters reaching out to me, whether it's like, hey, Jono, you've got this amazing Facebook group. And they can do it in a few different ways. They might ask to post, And then I can either charge for that post and monetize it, or I can bank a favor. Yeah, no dramas, but can you do this for me? Or it's a lot of people that just kind of kiss my butt a little bit because they know I've got that big audience there. So they're like, all right, we know we want to monetize that audience one day. Let's kiss Jono's butt a little bit now and give him this and help him out there and, whatever it is. So that's kind of one side to it there. You've got that. It's the community, which it has its advantages in its own, but it also gets other people reaching out to you and making it very easy to collaborate either way. But the major reason why I like it is because it's the least work. Because if you have a solid Facebook group, it should run without you. That's my goal. I've got kind of two, my fitness Facebook group, my course creator one. Both of them now run 100% without me, either with virtual assistants making some posts with what's going on in the business, or just the members 100% creating that content there. The advantage of that is my group's running, my name's out there, I'm positioning myself. All this is happening with me doing absolutely nothing. If I had a TikTok, an Instagram, a YouTube, whatever it is, the second I stop posting, I kind of become irrelevant, right? This Facebook group is just it's getting more and more engaged the less I do. So they're the advantages. That's why I recommend a Facebook group.
And I was going to follow up a question, but I feel like you just answered it. So if we took the money out of it, how would you measure the success, of a thriving group? How would you say, yeah, this is thriving versus this not? And it sounds like it's all about the engage. If you're able to walk away from it, and what I mean by that is not have to be the one that originates all the content.
Yep.
Right.
100%. The metric is how many. I guess kind of two would be how many people are posting per day that isn't you. But the other key one is like when people are posting, are other people engaging in that post? Because I don't just want people posting on there trying to sell stuff. Hey guys, here's my thing going, and we can speak about that, later, the rules or whatever. But like,
we definitely want to talk about that because
I don't just want. And also, there's also a common thread in like Facebook groups where people will go in there and in a way try and steal your audience. They'll go in there and like say that they're posting value, but it's kind of like you can tell they're just trying to sell. You're like, I don't really want that. I don't mind. I'll usually let that slide. But what I really want in my community is let's say someone wants to create an online course. They're going in there. Hey guys, I'm thinking of creating an online course. What platform does everyone use? And I want 50, 100 comments. Hey, here's what I use. Here's the advantage. Just people sharing out of the goodness of my heart, Or hey guys, I've got this course, but it's not selling. Can I ask what marketing strategies everyone do? And I want 50, 100. Hey, here's what's working for me. I use Instagram. Here's what I do. Hey, I use a podcast. Here's what I do. That's the other key. It's not just people posting. Someone asks a question. Do they get a whole heap of, and I'm saying 50, 100 because I've got a big group, right? But if you've got a couple hundred people in your Facebook group, as long as there's people commenting, because that's the key of the community. We want someone who's got a question and they're like, right, I've got a question. I could go on Google. I could even go on ChatGPT, but I think Jono's Facebook group is going to give me a better answer because it's real people that are going to, answer that question now. And I can even follow up a conversation with them. If someone says something, I can reply to their thing, blah, 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 blah.
So let me ask you a question. At what point do you monetize it? In other words, did you start off with a good group that was thriving and people were engaged and then said, all right, from this point forward, I'm going to start charging to join it? Or did you start a group and say, from day one, this is what it's going to cost to do this group?
Okay, good point. So all my groups are free, right? So all my groups are 100% free. The way I monetize them is mainly just via selling courses to the people in the Facebook group. Yes, I do some, promotions where you can pay to go on the group or whatever, but that's like a side thing. It's more just like, here's my Facebook group. Let me create an amazing community in this group here. And then the way I monetize it is that audience, either via email marketing. So there's certain strategies I do in place. So ideally everyone in my Facebook group, I also have their email. And what I find works well there is sell via email marketing, community and content in the Facebook group. So I'm not necessarily hard selling a lot in the Facebook group. I do a little bit here and there, but most of that Facebook group is just an amazing community. And that makes it so much easier for me to sell hard sell via email marketing, because it's kind of like, it's less of a, how can I put this? People are more open to being sold. My audience is more able to being sold to in email marketing because they know they're getting it from the best Facebook group in the industry. So they're kind of like, oh
Right.
yeah, this guy, I like him. I like his content. I like his group. Yeah, he's trying to pitch me something every couple of days in the email, but that's okay because, he's got this amazing
Well,
thing over here.
and hopefully they're learning from it too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as a marketer, sometimes I'll pay for something I know I'm never going to use, but I'm paying for,
Yeah.
I want to see the process of this funnel
Yep.
and where they take me through it all. Right. And
Yep.
so, cause you want to swipe good ideas, and I'm not saying copy, steal,
Yeah.
but swiping the strategy. Right.
100%.
And so 100%. So I like that, but, are you doing anything right now as it relates to I've seen some of the more engaging groups do like the chats, and all of a sudden, like, are you involved? Is any of your groups have got the
I don't like,
private chats or not even going
no,
there?
not even going there.
Wow.
I just like it as community as possible. Just like I want
Yeah.
everything going on in that feed.
Gotcha. So yeah, because it would separate it a little bit, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned a little bit with the name earlier in terms of the wrong name can attract the wrong audience, but forget the name for a second, right? And obviously the name contributes to attracting who you want, but how do you attract the right people? And then once you have them, keep them engaged.
Yes. Okay. So that's the $1 million question, right? And I've got specific strategies in place there. So let me simplify. Let me try and organize this. So, all right. So I've got about 7 or 8 different specific strategies that I use to make sure that my Facebook group is engaging. Those strategies take a bit more work initially until I get the culture of the group the way I want it. And now it pretty much runs itself without me doing it. So I think the easiest thing is if I run through a couple of these strategies to give some examples of how to do it. There's 2 kind of the overarching principle is culture. What we want is the culture of the group to be all about people posting and people supporting each other, right? There's 2 things we need in place for that to happen. Number 1 is the rules on the sales promotion. So different groups have different rules. Some you can never promote ever. Some you can promote on a certain day. He's promo Tuesday or promo Friday or whatever. Some you can promote at any time. Now, I'll go through some of the advantages and disadvantages of each one of those. I don't like to promote at any time. A lot of people do that when starting off their group to get numbers in there. They're like, hey, join my group and you can promote your services, blah, 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 blah. But the issue with that is it just becomes like a sales pitch. And it's not a good experience for the user. And also most people in that group aren't really there to buy or to be part of a community. They're just there so they can get their pitch in. So it's just all these people pitching and no one wanting to buy. Same thing with the specific day. I find if you have a specific day, what people will do is be like, oh, I'll join this group. I'm not going to check it any other day, but every Tuesday they allow promos. So I'm going to go and promote my stuff on Tuesday and not check it. So that just kind of attracts the wrong people there. What I recommend is I'm like, hey, yeah, you can promote, but you've got to clear it by me first. And that's what it's got in the group rules. The advantage there is I can kind of sift through things and be like, oh yeah, my audience would like that. And it's no conflict on me, go happy days. You can post that. Or if I think it's something that it can be a win-win. Yeah, great. No dramas. Hey, do you have an affiliate on that? Is it okay if we do it as an affiliate kind of thing? And then I'll post as well. Or I can just leverage the thing, yes, Scott, no dramas. Hey, out of curiosity, you got an audience yourself? Hey, you mind if I do the same thing in your Facebook group or to your email list? So there's opportunities there if people are reaching out to me. So that's one thing. But the other probably more important thing, can I swear on this podcast, Scott? Is there a...
We do it all.
Okay, cool. So I recommend implementing a no dickheads policy, right?
Yes.
So what I mean by that,
always a good policy.
100%. Because I learned this in my boot camp days, right? Because let's say I would have 20 people in my group, and let's say I had one person that was an asshole or a dickhead or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That one person would ruin the whole mood for all 19 other people. So just by having that one person in there, if they, cause trouble, hey, guess what? The next week I've got 2 or 3 people less because I don't want to hang around with these kind of people. The next week, 2 or 3 people less. So it was better for me to kick out that one person and I would just lose one person, and then I'll keep growing, then to every week lose 2 or 3. It's the same kind of thing in a Facebook group. If someone makes a post in the Facebook group and someone attacks them in the comment section, which I'm sure we've all seen that before, right?
In the rules, when you're stating it, do you actually say no dickheads?
Yep. I use
I love it.
I use like a hashtag instead of the I or something, or an exclamation mark. But it's that's rule number 1. No dickheads policy, right? And that might attract the right people, because they might be like, great, if someone, is leaves a bad comment, I'll kick him out. So, and that's key, because what'll happen is if someone posts in your Facebook group and someone makes a comment attacking them, and I get it, like, it's kind of like, that's what some people use Facebook for, to attack other people or whatever, but I just don't want those people in my group, right? Because what's going to happen is that person posts, they get a comment from someone criticizing them. That person that posts originally is going to be like, oh, I'm not going to post again in this group. You post in this group and people attack you. What a bad group. I'm never posting and I'm leaving the group, right? So what if I see someone make those sort of comments, just remove straight away. There's no democracy. Yeah. There's no asking them to please remove the comment. I'm just like, they've done it before. They'll do it again. Kick them out. Happy days. Life's better without them, Yeah. Yep. So they're like, that's the overall arching thing. But I want to share some specific tactics that I recommend everyone use at the start. So, and even we might even go back a step as well, because here's another kind of thing that kind of ties everything together. I don't recommend starting a Facebook group unless you have like 100 of your ideal people that you can invite in straight away. Because if you start a Facebook group and there's 5 people in there, like, where's the value? Like, the only reason someone's joining a group is because they want, if they can ask a question and they get heaps of responses, or they want to see what's going on in the industry or in the field or whatever. So, and it's just hard to build it from there, because, all right, you start a Facebook group with 5 people, no one's going to engage, the algorithm's going to be against you, and then you got to try and get more people in there. And by the time you get to 100, no one cares about the group. It's so much easier if you just start with a bang. Hey, here's 100 people, boom, off the bat, there's already some conversation going, and then we can build on that, right? But let's get to some specific strategies. So the easiest one that anyone can introduce is just the new member DM. All right, this is great if you don't have a lot of new members. If you just got 1 or 2 people joining a day, great, send them a DM. All right, hey Scott, so glad to have you in the Facebook group. All our members get a free copy of this free course here. Do you want it? Awesome. Bang. Right. By the way, what do? Oh, I host a podcast. Awesome. Hey, Scott, feel free to make a post and introduce yourself in the group. Just say who you are, what you do, where you're from. And you know what? Attach a selfie to make it more personal. Right. The person's like, oh, great. There we go. You can also follow that up as a sales strategy as well. If you want to monetize your Facebook group and you do, sales calls or whatnot, you can lead that to a sales call as well. But even if you don't, even from the engagement side of things, the advantage of that is every day you're going to have 1 or 2 people just posting, introducing themselves, right? Which makes the group a better experience. On top of that, you don't have to do that all the time. My virtual assistant, the next step from that was my virtual assistant would then do it. But then after that, we just found that people were doing it organically. Even if we didn't send them a DM, someone would join the group and be like, oh, I guess when you join this group, you introduce yourself and take a photo. I guess I'll go and do that, right?
Nice.
But the only reason that happens is because we did the work initially, right? If we didn't do that initially, I doubt that people would just introduce themselves.
It's funny because, I belong to a decent amount of groups. There's only, I guarantee you, I can only think of 2, 3 at the most that I would say are engaging.
Yeah, 100%.
And the number 1 group that I can think of that was the most engaging did exactly that step right there.
Yep.
They reached out to me as soon as I joined it.
Yep.
And asked me to introduce myself to the group.
Yep.
I did that. And of course, then the group comments and does that.
Yep.
You meet a bunch of people and stuff like that. But man, it's an extremely engaging group. And that was the one thing. And I remember even thinking, wow, that's completely different. And by the way, that's completely different than all these other groups you join, because no one really does it.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Because I've mentioned that to people before, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I got time to do that. fair enough if you're getting 10, 20 people in your group every day,
Right.
right? But you can outsource or get it, or even still, I'd be like, hey, just do it for a couple of weeks, get the culture going, and then you can, you can stop doing it. But that's
Yeah.
massive there. And also the other thing as well, it looks good in the feed if someone joins the group and they're scrolling through, and it's not just you trying to sell stuff. There's also people introducing themselves, but also just from the algorithm side of things, it's like, all right, if Scott joins a group and never posts, that's not coming up in his feed ever. Right? But if he joins a group and he posts and then people are commenting and liking, then he's probably going to see more posts in there, and it goes in the feed there. So that's a really easy one to do. The other easy one to do, this is probably more specific to course creators, but it can work well in different fields as well. I'll always have, in any course that I have, whether it's a free course or a paid course, there's always some sort of an action task in there that involves the person making a post in the Facebook group, but actually a good post. It's not just, hey, post, a photo of you and your computer or whatever. Like some specific examples in one of my courses in the fitness education side of things, we've got a course around kettlebells, right? All these different exercises, workouts you can do with kettlebells. But one of the action tasks in there is, hey, guys, we've given you our 20 favorite kettlebell workouts, but we got 15,000 people in this Facebook group. Make a post in the Facebook group, ask everyone else what their favorite workout is, right? The person makes that post there. The personal trainers love it because we love just share. We think our workout is the best, so we want to share everyone's. So good engagement there. But it's a great win for the person posting because they don't just get our 20 workouts. They've now got our 20 workouts plus 100 different workouts from different trainers that have done it there. Massive win. And then the culture again. The person, you know what? If I ever need any workouts or any ideas or whatever, screw Google, screw ChatGPT. I'm going straight to this Facebook group and asking here and actually speaking with real people. Right. So that's a good one there. Probably more course creator specific, but if you can work that in your lead magnet, whatever it is, Do
your groups ever get together? Do you find obviously a group's going to be spread out, but do you ever find that like there's people within a certain city and they're like, hey, we're all meeting up here or whatever? And does that ever happen?
No. I probably could push it a bit more if I wanted to. In the introduction question. So in the introduction, it's always say where you're from because that's part of community, right? You want to find common things with people. Right. So there's often that kind of thing. Oh, you're from Northern Canada? So am I. Hey, let's connect, blah, 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 blah. But there's never been an actual group. I probably could do it, but there's not enough in it for me to kind of because it'd probably be a bit of work without a massive monetization side of things. So I haven't got to that level yet.
All right. So let's say someone's listening, they're starting off, or they've got a group. It's not that engaging. They want to get it going. So now new members are coming in. They can start doing some of those tips. They can put up some of the policies that you've got.
Yep.
But they got to start generating stuff. And they've got to start at the beginning. You probably generated more content than you do now because you had to get it going, right? You had to create the culture you wanted.
Yep.
So how do they create engaging content that really resonates with their group to get them more involved and to get the ball rolling?
Yep, 100%. So it's a tough question. I'll share the simple answer and then we'll go a bit deeper. So hands down, the most engaging thing you can do in a Facebook group is just post one of those colored boxes with an engaging question in there, right? If you do, those colored boxes I mean, right?
Yeah, I am. I don't know why I'm taking notes. It's all recorded. But I'm loving it.
Yeah. So hands down, that's the thing to do. Don't worry about long copy. Don't worry about a live video. Don't worry about whatever. Like that colored box with a simple question, because most people on Facebook, they're doing it, while they're in the bathroom. Yeah. 100%. They're doing it while they're watching TV, there's very few people that are reading that detailed thing. So we want that engaging question. Now we can do it in a few different ways. I'm a podcaster and I find that's a good way to get my content out there. What I'll do is make an just come up with a catchy kind of headline. And not even me these days, my virtual assistant, but starting off me. Hey guys, just released a podcast, insert catchy headline, comment below if you want it. Whole heap of people just, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. Great. Engagement of the group's working well, better connections with these peoples, opportunities to connect, still consuming my content, but they're just consuming content that I've already done. All right. But the even better way than that is just like an engaging question that really really hits with your industry. And that's why I can't give a specific, I'll give some examples in the different industries I'm in, but it's kind of like the better you know your industry, the better you know your audience, the more kind of engaging you can make that question. So the point I'm trying to make here is it's not like, hey guys, do you like pineapple on your pizza? You know, or hey guys, do you like Brussels sprouts? Yes or no? They're not bad, bit of fun, this and that, you know, especially on your personal one. But ideally, we want it kind of specific to your industry. So let's just say I'll share some more fun ones, but then also some serious ones that maybe a lot of people listening here can relate. So one I did the other day was like, hey guys, need to win an argument. Nobody prefers Dropbox over Google Drive. True or false? Right? Something like that, where it's still industry specific and people, because you get people on both sides, you know, yeah, Dropbox sucks. No, Dropbox is so much better. Blah,
Which
blah, blah,
one?
blah, blah.
Which one that, by the way? Which one?
Google Drive, hands down. Don't tell
I
me
was
you're
going to say, I would
Dropbox
assume
sucks.
that.
Yeah,
It was much easier.
Yep, awesome. So like, or it could be something where it's like, all right, another one might be like, all right, guys, what kind of marketing do you prefer? You can only do one, or you know, hey guys, you can only pick one thing to market your course, paid or organic. Which are you choosing and why? Right? Just different things where people can kind of get their point across. And this works well on a few different things. A, it's just good kind of engaging content. B, it's kind of like getting people to share their opinion, which is what you want. You want heated people with passionate opinion to be like, no, you got to do paid because of this, or you got to do organic because of this. Like that's what Facebook wants. They want real conversations in the comments, where then someone's going, nah, but what about this? Or what do you do that? But also it's a great opportunity. So most of my, well, I shouldn't say most, like a lot of my sales now, especially, just come from me or my virtual assistant or someone just posting one of those colored boxes. And then with those conversations going on in the comments, I can just sell in there. Oh, you answer. Oh, hey, you know, oh, you'd love to try paid Facebook ads, but you don't know what you're doing. I've actually got a course that covers that. Hey, go here, use this coupon code, and you get it on special, you know? You know, you've got a Facebook group, but it's dead. You're just not getting any interaction. Hey, I've actually got a course on that. You know, here you go. Like, that's my favorite way to sell via Facebook groups, because it's no work on me. Someone else is making a post, and I'm just reading the comments, engaging in the comments. I'm not hard selling. That's kind of my daily job. I'll jump on, read the comments, interact, like a few things, blah, blah, blah. If I see an opportunity, hey, here's a course, check it out. Here's a coupon code.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is that when we got back and you said the way you monetize it is you're selling eventually to your services and stuff. And that's what I was going to ask you next is what's an elegant way that you do that without being salesy on there? Because you don't want to, if you're not wanting people to post and promote, I'm assuming you don't want it. You would have to set a good example with that as well.
Exactly.
So how do you do it in an elegant way for you?
Yep, exactly. So all I really do there, so I don't even do the DM strategy anymore. I did that initially, but it's kind of time consuming, you know, so it's like, and I sell online courses. It's not a service. So I'm like, it's not kind of worth it. Most of it is literally just good content in the Facebook group, get that person on my email list. And I've got many different strategies to get that person on my email list. We might even speak about a few about them now. So the easiest way to get people on your Facebook group, the first one is that initial question. This is the exact wording you want to have. Here are my 3 questions. Are you a insert thing? Okay, course creator, personal trainer, whatever, because I want to make sure I'm only getting the right people in my group, right?
Yeah.
Question number 2, how did you hear about this group? Because I want to test my marketing. You know, is it organic Facebook? Is it my podcast? Is it, you know, whatever else I'm doing? I want to see what's working there. Question 3, drop your email below if you'd like a free copy of insert juicy lead magnet, right? That's the exact wording. I've tried different ones, you know, and I've seen a lot of people, hey, do you want to join my mailing list? Blah, blah, blah. No, drop your email below if you'd like a free copy of and insert juicy thing, right? Because there's like from a marketing side of things, and I learned this also, I just got back from Social Media World a couple of weeks ago. And the session sounded amazing. You know, I looked at it. I'm like, oh, these sessions are so good. They sound so. And I went in there, and the sessions were good. But the best part were the names, because marketers are just so good at doing these names that that get you wanting to go.
Yeah.
But it's a good lesson. Like, it doesn't really matter what your free thing is, or I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. Like, initially, to get people to opt in for it, the name is more important. You can have the best thing in the world, but if it's not named attractively, no one's going to put their email down there. In terms of rough numbers, about 1 in 3 is what I find. About 1 in 3 will drop their email in there, right? But that's only part one, because like a lot of people don't enter their email in there. I never do, because it's work. I've got to type it in. If I'm on my phone, I've got to do it. I don't know these people yet. I don't want to give them my email. So some, like 1 in 3 do, but I'm the 2 out of 3 that don't, right? But then there's another shot at it, which is the welcome post. So every week, my virtual assistant, hey guys, want to welcome everyone to the group. Just letting you know, all members get a free copy of this thing here. Comment down below if you want it, right? And then, my VA will reply and give the link to get the free thing there. So that way, it's kind of like a 2-shot kind of thing. It's like either the first question to get in, or the initial welcome post there. And the advantage of the welcome post is now they can kind of see the group, they can see the images, the videos, whatever. It's a bit more buying kind of there. But also old people can see that post as well. Maybe you joined a year ago and you did it, but now you're in my group and you like it. Oh, you know what? I should have put my email in there. I'm going to go and do it there again. Right.
Yeah.
On top of that, I've kind of got like an automate. I shouldn't say, like, it's easy with what I do, especially in the fitness field, because it doesn't really change too much. So I've created like simplified version, 6 months of evergreen content, right? Where it's like, it's a particular topic, and then it's like 3 quick videos. So let's just use fitness as an example. This week is kettlebells. Hey, here's a 15-second kettlebell tip, and I've got 3 of those Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Right. Next week, same thing with body weight. Right. Next week, same thing with dumbbells. Right. Next week, same thing with nutrition. Right. I got kind of like 6 months worth of that my VAs just kind of post again every 6 months, kind of, or every 3 times a week, rotates every 6 months. The call to action is always, hey, we've got a free mini course on this thing here. Comment down below if you want it. All right. People comment down below. They join the email list. They go into an automation. They buy then and there, or they buy in the campaign, yada, yada, yada. Or the other way is via live webinars. Hey guys, running a live webinar on this topic here. Comment below if you want the link to join. The person joins will either join that way there, right? Will they'll enter their email in either way to join on the list. Maybe they attend the webinar and buy then and there. Maybe they don't. They're on the email list either way. But also what I do is I've got like, because I've got such a wide array of courses now. Every course, I've got a course that's on special kind of every week. Simplified version is my virtual assistant will make a post from the business page, just basically saying, hey guys, this course is on special this week. Comment down below if you want the link. Right. I find that works well because it doesn't come from my name. So mine's still kind of the personal stuff, a bit of personality, giving content, nice guy, yada, yada, yada. And then the business stuff comes from the business page, which makes it look a bit more formal. I've said every week, but it's technically not every week because it's just some courses we've kind of done to the ground, So we might do it on special via email, but we won't do it on Facebook group. Maybe once a month. There's just like a post that's like, hey guys, new course, or amazing special or whatever. Comment down below if you want the link. So it's literally like 1 sales post a month, give or take. That's pretty much it for that side of things.
So, I mean, gosh, the level of detail. I'm going to go back so first off, I'm going to ask you obviously to join our Move Crush Count group, but I'm almost hesitant. I'm almost like, no, wait, give me a few days before you join.
Yeah.
I love everything that you're talking about here. Clearly you've touched on this right out of the gate with the 3 questions you ask, are you a blank? Because you want a certain type of person. Yep. You want the right audience coming in, right?
That'll help as well, Scott. Because if I get the reason why I want that right audience is so Facebook knows, all right, if this person's a personal trainer, this is the group for them. If it's too general, who they're going to show it to
when they're making recommendations. Yeah. So that's perfect, because I was going to ask you, how important is it, the niche itself, in terms of what you're going after, but you just gave a perfect example of that. It's beyond just, you want the right people in there that could potentially buy whatever you're selling, but at the same time,
from a lead gen strategy. Yeah. Because there's two things there, right? And it comes back to the name as well. Like I want something that people's going to search in, that my avatar searches in, but also the way Facebook currently suggests groups to other people is kind of what group their friends are in, It's kind of like, all right, if a lot of their friends are in this group, they'll join this group here. So it'll show them the group, but I also want it named accordingly. So that person can be like, oh, course creator community. I'm a course creator. Boom, let me join.
All right. So is there any final thoughts or any advice that you want to give for anyone looking to create a successful Facebook group?
Yeah, so I think the key things, I just listened to this episode again, but the key kind of takeaways there, don't start the group until you got the 100 ideals. Make sure you've got the rules on selling. Make sure you got the no dickhead policy. Make sure you've got a strategy for engagement. I'll even can I give just a couple really quick tips, Scott? Because I know I gave a
Please.
couple.
No,
Yeah, I
this
just want
has
to give
been great. Yeah.
yeah, I want to give a couple more specifically on engagement because it's probably not enough just to do the new member DM and the action task in the course. You probably need to do a few more of them. So I just want to give a few other really simple ones that work as well. One of my favorite ones is the redirect. So most people listening to this, if they're already in business, they probably get people asking them questions. You know, hey Scott, I'm thinking of starting the podcast. What things should I use? This and that. And you might get it via DM, you might get it via email, you might get it via text message. I'd use the redirect. Any question anyone asks me, Scott, great question, mate. I got the perfect answer for that. Hey, could you do me a favor? You reckon you could post that in the Facebook group? Because I'd love for everyone else to see the answer to that as well. All right. And there's a few things going on. It's just better for my sanity and my time management. I'm not, what did they send? Was it LinkedIn? Was it Instagram? Was it email?
No.
I just know I check my Facebook group once a day, and that's what I do there. It's also kind of training people to be like, all right, if I'm going to ask John a question, he's going to ask me to post it in the Facebook group anyway. So I'm just going to go and post it straight in the Facebook group. And once again, the culture, people are like, oh, you can go and ask a question in this Facebook group and Jono will answer it or someone else will answer it, blah, 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 blah. And also just the wording of that as well. When someone asks you the question, a couple key things to answer it with. Great question. I have the perfect answer. Right. So just being like, hey, I got this, you want the answer. I got it. Right. But also saying because everyone else will benefit as well. So it's not you're actually doing a win for the community by posting it in that group there. So that's another good one to do. The feedback is another good one as well. So let's say a lot of the time, especially in the online course space, someone will send us a DM. Jono, I did your course. It was the best course ever. I implemented this strategy. I got so many clients. I got better workouts, blah, 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 blah. Most of the time, as course creators anyway, and personal trainers too, we're just like, oh, thanks, means a lot. And we leave it at there, right? Some people might even go the next step and screenshot that and post it in the Facebook group. But what I think's better than me screenshotting someone's DM and posting it is getting that person to post it in the Facebook group, right? And I even crafted a little bit for them, Scott, that's such good feedback. Hey, you reckon, do me a favor? You reckon you can post that in the Facebook group? That will help me get more clients and more customers. Is that okay? I can even give you a bit of a blurb to write. Oh, yeah, no dramas, Jono. I'd love to help you out. And then I just craft the perfect post for him, Hey, I did Jono's bootcamp course, and as a result, I got 20 new clients. I paid $500 for the course and got $5,000 back. If you guys want to grow your bootcamp, hey, reach out to Jono, right? Yeah. So much more powerful from a sales side of things, and less like if I posted it would be salesy. But that person's posting it, it's people are supporting them because they got all these results, and it just, if we just think of the feed now, it's not just me posting. Now we scroll through, there's people introducing themselves. There's people asking questions, there's people giving me testimonials and good feedback. It's like, my job's 95% done. That's why I can do absolutely nothing. Like my job is 95% done just with those things there. And I just want to give probably one more tip if someone's struggling with all of those. They're like, that's all well and good, Jono, but I got no new people coming in. I don't have an online course to ask an action task. I don't have any clients, so I'm not getting any feedback. I'm not getting any questions. You can always use the old plant strategy. Get a few of your friends in there and just say, hey, Scott, I want to drive this Facebook group. Once a week, can you just ask an engaging question in there? I'll even give you the question, but just do it so it's not just me posting. All right. If I just have 2 or 3 people like that and they're doing it once a week, at least there's some posts going through that aren't just me.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I want to be respectful of your time because I know you have a hard stop afterwards. And so I could keep going with this. And I know there's people that are going to be watching and listening this when it goes down to the podcast. I might have you back on if at some point. I'm going to be launching another podcast called Business Bourbon and Cigars. That I'll tell you, when I've got a Facebook group that right now it's very private. So it's got a small membership, only the people that have attended the leadership stuff, but I'm going to open it up and I'm going to do I'm going to build it out exactly with what you
Yep.
just said.
Yep.
So this has been helpful for me as well. But all right, everyone, that is a wrap on this episode of Move, Crush, Count, where we explored the power of creating a thriving Facebook group. We did it with the help of expert Jono Petrohilis. And I have to say it like that just so it makes me easier for me to pronounce your last name, not mess it up. Jono shared incredible insights on how to create not only engaging content, building a community, monetizing your Facebook, but how to do it for maximum impact. And truly, I mean, the way you're describing this, and I've seen groups like this, but very few, it is a true community, and that's a key word, I think, here.
Yeah.
So, and I love how you put that, you like to put that in the titles and you recommended it. You can learn more about Jono and his work. I want you to visit his website. If you're watching us now, we've got it scrolling across the bottom, but it is Course Creator Community Podcast.buzzsprout.com. I got that right, correct?
You got it.
All right. So remember, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to visit movecrushcount.com so you can catch up on all our previous episodes, and that way you never miss a future one. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, join our Facebook group, and tune in to our live streams on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So that way you can stay connected with our community. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you'd rate or review us. This whole show is grown organically. So anything you can share, get on there and hit those 5-star ratings and review us well. We pay attention to all the reviews and we try to improve the show from there. So please help us out. And finally, I want to give you special thanks to our sponsor, J&L Marketing, the digital and direct marketing agency that helps you outsmart your toughest competitors so you don't have to outspend them. Make sure you visit jnlmarketing.com today so you can see how their innovative approach helps you move the crowd, crush your competition, and count the money. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Move, Crush, Count.